and welcome to our live today. So our topic is understanding tempo. So pretty much we all want to know how to read tempo. We don't know what the numbers might mean, and it's a really can be confusing thing for a lot of people, even trainers when they first start out as well. So pretty much we're going to go over what tempo is, how to read it, and how to use it in your training to really reach the best results you can and to get the most out of your training program as well. So it's a little bit of a workshop today as well, so bear with me. So obviously, first of all, tempo is a training variable. So as some of you have heard me say before, there are so many ways to progressively overload other than just adding weight to the bar, and tempo is just one of those training variables that we can change. I sort of like to think of it as like a tool in a trainer's toolbox that we can make the intensity harder, and we can really progressively overload safely and really get you guys to hit those goals without necessarily having to bump up the weight to an unsafe amount that you actually cannot sustain. So pretty much it's a rate or a rhythm in which you move throughout a movement or an exercise. So from point A to point B and in between. So it's a 4-digit code, and a lot of the time you probably have seen this written next to the exercise itself, where there's a difference between sets and reps as well. So this one is the 4-digit number that will often look like 2010, something like that. But how do you actually read tempo? So if you can see this board, it's just a little workshop that we've got. So the first number of the tempo, this is where everyone gets a little bit stuck, and I'm going to explain later on, but the first number is the eccentric contraction. Now, that means when the muscle is in its lengthening process. Now, I can talk for hours about this stuff, but we're going to make it just nice and basic for you guys to take to your sessions. So the lengthening process of a muscle, so whether that may be, if you're an RDL, perfect example, is we're getting the glutes to lengthen from underneath and the hamstrings over and around. So obviously, we're lengthening through our glutes here, and then squeeze to shorten them back to contract. So think of the first number is wherever the muscle is lengthening throughout the exercise. Now, the muscle you're thinking of that is lengthening is going to be the primary muscle that we are working for that exercise. Then you have the second number. This bit can be confusing as well. So the second number is either the transition, so it's a transition phase between the lengthening process and the shortening process. Now, a lot of the time this can be where you pause, you hold, but if it's just a 0, that means it's just a straight transition to the shortening phase. The number 3, this is what you get here. This is the concentric contraction. So, other words, I like to just say the shortening phase or the contracting part of the muscle. Now, if that was something like a squat, we've lengthened the glutes and the quads down here, and then we've squeezed and we've contracted back up to the top. We've shortened the muscle. Same as if we're doing a lateral raise, we're shortening the muscle here because it's through our deltoids, all right? And then we're lengthening as we come back. So think of that third number as the shortening phase. Then the very last one, once again, is the transition. So this is the part where it will transition from the shortened phase back to the lengthening phase. So once again, it can be a pause or a hold in here as well, or it can be nothing at all. So what we're going to do is, you're probably thinking, okay, sounds well and good, I'll just start my exercise on the first number. Well, not necessarily and not always. So it depends on the movement pattern. So if you are looking at different exercises, it will determine when you actually would use and how you use your tempo. So let's do some examples, because look, that's the easiest way. And if you're at home or if you're at work on a break or whatever, jump up and do it with me, and it will really help stick in your mind as well. So let's start with an RDL. We're going to go with a barbell RDL, for instance, or you can just do it without anything. Now, quite often when trainers actually program sessions, we actually do the movements. A lot of the time I'll sit at my desk doing the movement, thinking through how I want it to work and where I want the pauses to get the optimal result for that phase. So, barbell RDL. Now, obviously we're working our glutes primarily and our hamstrings in this movement. So I need to think where they're lengthening and where they're shortening. Obviously, as I mentioned before, as we go down for an RDL, we're lengthening. Now, this is where this one is a little bit easier because it is from the first number. So we're here, our starting position of an RDL is that lengthening position. And then we get to the bottom, that's our hold, and then we squeeze and that's our shortening. Now, if we were reading our tempo here, and it said 3, 0, 1, 0, we're going to walk through it. So, I come up to my starting position, I'm going to lengthen. So I start on the 3. So I go 3, 2, 1, and then I come straight back up for a 1, because there was no pause. So 3, 2, 1, back up, 1, no pause. Now, I'm going to show you a difference. This is if we were to change it up and we were to add 3, 2, 1, 1. Alright, see if you can get this done at home. So what we've got, starting position, lengthening. I'm starting on the 3, the very first number, because I'm lengthening first. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, but I'm going to hold 2, 1, squeeze 1, hold 1 back at the top. 3, 2, 1, hold 2, 1, squeeze 1 back up to the top. So as you can see, because I've done the lowering for 3, and then there is a 2 here in the transition phase, so I need to hold that for 2 seconds. Alright, before I come back up for 1, and then I've even got a little hold to reset at the top. Alright, now, might sound confusing still, but let's change it up. So, depending on the movement pattern I said before, will depend on where you start your tempo. So, RDL, we lengthen, that's the first part. But a dumbbell glute bridge, let me show you the exercise. So we're going to be here. If you have dumbbells on your hips, you're going to start by here. You're going to come up, squeeze, hold, and then lower. Now, where is the starting position? Contracting. Alright? So I'm shortening the muscle to start. So I need to start my tempo at number 3, the digit number 3. So, for instance, I'm going 2, 0, 1, but it doesn't mean I start with the 2. I have to start with the 1. So I come here in position, I'm going to go, ready to go, I go 1, lower 1, 2, up 1, lower 1, 2. Alright? Because the third number is the contraction, and that's where I start the glute bridge. So if I was to change that one up and go 2, 0, 1, 3, as per here, change it a little different. So start with the third number, because that's the contraction, and that's how we start the glute bridge. We go up 1, we're going to hold 1, 2, 3, lower 1, 2, back up 1, hold 3, 2, 1, lower 1, 2. Alrighty, up. As you can see here, I'm holding tension at the top. So that is where, in the glute bridge, our muscles are most under tension. So hopefully so far you can see a little bit of a difference as that I don't actually always start my movements from that first digit. It depends on the lengthening and the shortening of the muscles and when and where. So let's move into something else, an upper body movement. So if we have a chest press, for example, I'm going to come down here, go opposite way, but I'm going to come down here and do a chest press. Now, we contract to start our chest press movement, don't we? So that means, just as the glute bridge, we actually start on that third number. Now, my tempo for this is 2, 0, 1, 0, but I start on 1. So I'm here, I'm going to go up, 1, and lower down, 1, 2. Now, reason I'm not holding at the top or the bottom is because this tempo is 2, 0, 1, 0. Now, the next tempo I've got for this chest press, which makes it so much harder, is actually 2, 2, 1, 1. Now, that's going to look like this. Up 1, hold 1, 1, 2, hold 1, 2. Up 1, hold 1, lower 1, 2, 1, 2. Adding tension, and when you've got a weight on that, you're adding a lot of load to those spots that are really, really tricky. So that adds to that. The next one I'm going to show you for an upper body is a tricep extension. Now I'm just going to do this one seated. Now, we start our tricep extension by going like so, lowering. So if you think about that one there, the tricep here is actually lengthening. So this is lengthening from the here to here as I lower. So we start the tricep extension on the very first digit, which is the lengthening phase. So, for instance, if it's 2, 0, 1, 0, I can start on that first number. I can go 1, 2, up, 1, 1, 2, up, 1, 1, 2, up, 1. Now, if I wanted to make this a lot harder, which I definitely can, I'm going to add 2, 2, 1, 0. So let me talk you through this. Once again, we start with the first digit because the start of the movement is the lengthening phase. So we go 1, 2, and now we're going to hold between the transition. 1, 2, up, 1, go again. 1, 2, hold, 1, 2, up again. So this is how you can really make the tempo so much different. And let's be honest, if you've ever done a PT session that has changed in tempo, you will have noticed the difference so much. So I want you guys to comment below if tempo has been your hellfire before in a session, because it really does change it up. So what it actually does is it allows us to create a training variable to add intensity. And a lot of the time that is pauses by isometric contractions and also increasing the intensity through that lengthening stage where the muscles are lengthening apart and then contracting, bang, back together. So I know it all sounds like a lot, and I think the hardest part for a lot of people with tempo is not the tempo itself. Like, once you've got the tempo and you've been told when to start it, it's totally fine. What the hard part is figuring out the main muscle that you are actually using, and in the movement, understanding the movement pattern. So if it's a lengthening, shortening, and where that is happening. So my biggest tips to you guys is to, 1, identify the muscle group. So if we're doing an RDL, we're targeting those glutes and hammies. So first step, identify. Now, identify where the muscle is lengthening and where it's shortening. Nice and easy one. Our butt and our hamstrings are lengthening. So that means that is digit number 1. What I also suggest is performing the movement physically or in your head when you're reading the tempo, and then corresponding that to the actual 4-digit tempo. So from there, you can kind of grab a little gist of what it is. But here's my but. This is what we do for a living. So this is what we study, this is what we do day in, day out. So I would never expect you guys to rock up to any session and be 100% all over it from the get-go. This is why we are here, and this is what we're here to help you with in all of your sessions. Find out, ask us questions where the movement pattern is, how it works, what muscle you're lengthening and shortening, and then this way we can really work together so you guys can have a better understanding. As I said, I do this for a living, you guys don't, and I would never expect you to rock on up and know exactly how to do it. But anyway, I hope that helped a little bit. And if you do have any questions about the 4-digit or where tempo should work, then please drop them below and I'm happy to answer all of them. But as I said, this is just to try and help the ones that might want a bit of understanding to come into their training sessions from now on and to really kick butt. So you can see how the intensity changes. That means we can really change how much effort we're putting into our session, therefore leading to those results and getting us stronger for PBs as well, which we love, but it's not all about.